Hi, welcome to the webinar on Emerging Leaders Certificate. I'm Stevie Dram. I'm the Manager of Marketing, Online Learning, and Business Systems. Here today with me is Ashley Wilson. She is the Program Manager for this program, the Emerging Leaders Certificate. So before we get into the program, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about PACE in case you're not familiar with what we do or who we are. PACE stands for Professional Applied and Continuing Education. We're a school of the University of Winnipeg. So we offer over 300 part-time courses a year, primarily to working professionals. We also do have a full-time program, many full-time programs. Our instructors are industry professionals. So what that means is basically who would be teaching you the course in your part-time program would be working in that sector during the day. So they come from work to teach. We have a low student to instructor ratio, which means for students you get a lot of one-on-one time with your instructor, as well as you get a lot of bonding time with your fellow students. We offer a lot of transfer credits. That's to and from post-secondary education. So if you already have an undergraduate degree coming in, there's a lot of opportunity to transfer credits into our programs, or vice versa. If your long-term goal is to get that degree, courses you take here could very well be transferable to a university degree. So we have a part-time programs which are online and or in person, or you can do a bit of both. You can take some online and some in person to get a feel of both. We offer our part-time programs in the evenings, weekends. There is daytime availability, which we call fast tracking, and as we mentioned, online. All our classes are held at the Buehler Center, which is very centrally located downtown Winnipeg on the corner of Memorial and Portage. And that is, we always poll our students. That's one of the things they like best, is the central location. So our class sizes, as I mentioned, are quite small. So the biggest class size we'd have is 30 students. So it gives you a lot of time to participate, to meet the other students, and as I mentioned, to get to know your instructors. And that goes for the online courses as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Ashley now to talk about the program.
Hi, Ashley here. So in terms of the Emerging Leader Certificate program, our newest addition to PACE part-time offerings, we're super excited to launch it this fall. We've been wanting to do this for some time now. Research shows that there's high demand for leadership in the workplace right now, key skill that organizations are looking for when they're doing their recruitment, and students want this type of programming. So our target market is for those people who are in mid-level careers, in an entry-level management capacity, perhaps, or transitioning into a leadership role and not quite in that capacity yet, but kind of are wanting to see that in their near future. This is a great program for those individuals. It'll allow you to kind of build upon your leadership skills and be able to meet today's workplace challenges.
Go into a little more information about the breakdown of the program. So it's a very condensed, specialized program. Only 4 courses involved in this program. The first course is leadership development, and then leading self and leading others, followed by leading teams and the organization, and then it finishes up with the leadership challenge capstone project. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on each of these courses. So the leadership development course is our kind of prerequisite course. So this is the course that everyone needs to start with, and it will be the prerequisite for all other courses in the program. This course is offered multiple times a year, including fall, online. It will be offered again in the springtime, and then we'll have various daytime offerings in between. So there's lots of opportunity to take this course. For students that are graduates of our program, perhaps you may have already even completed this course, which means that you've completed a quarter of the program already. So just a little more information about this course. So this course will help students understand themselves and develop some goals. It also helps identify qualities of effective versus ineffective leadership. Also helps differentiate between managing and leading, and this is where a lot of professionals don't clearly know the difference between management and leadership. And then also just go over some effective communication strategies for leaders. So pretty entry level, but very opening to what's all involved in the program, and will kind of help set people up for the remainder of the courses in the program. It's a 36-hour course, and our typical terms run about 12 weeks. So our first offering of this is going to be in the fall. The second course in the program is called Leading Self and Others. Now this course is going to build upon, of course, the leadership development course, and helps prepare students to step up and out of their authentic leadership identity with confidence and resilience. It will also help you to lead both self and professionally by building trusting relationships through effective delegation, continuous feedback, and development. And so all students will have the opportunity to leave with a leadership development plan and a path of practice for going forward with the remaining courses in the program. The third course is Leading Selves and the Organization, our third course. So this course will build upon, of course, the leadership development and the Leading Self course. And it's going to help leaders lead with change and build a leadership culture and team environment at the organizational level. It will integrate framework from leading professional or personal, interpersonal, team, system, and organizational level, and it will help students lead in a very complex organizational system. And then the last course in the program is the Leadership Challenge Capstone course. We're particularly excited about this course. It's very unique and a little bit outside of the box of a typical PACE course. So it's going to be project-based. Students are going to determine a leadership challenge from their workplace, or perhaps maybe a volunteer or board capacity that you're involved in. And you're actually going to work through this leadership challenge and have different types of journaling and kind of steps along the way to work through this challenge. There will also be one-on-one coaching involved in this to kind of provide that extra support to the students throughout the practice. So this is the last course part of the program, and this is kind of how you're going to take everything from the previous 3 courses and now actually apply it to a real work scenario. It's really going to be a great way to end the program. You'll have access to the instructor the whole time, and then of course you'll get that individual 2 to 3 hours of coaching. So for those of you that are a little bit new to online learning, I'm just going to go through that, as this program is fully online, except the leadership development will have some classroom opportunities to take it there. So our online learning, our learning management system is called Nexus, or Desire to Learn, for those of you that are familiar with that. And it's basically a virtual classroom. This is where all your course material will be posted, the course outline, handouts, PowerPoints, assignments, rubrics, supplementary course information, everything. It's kind of an online course hub. And this is where all your classroom discussions will happen, which would replace, of course, in-class participation. And there's, it's a great platform to have really great constructive conversations where, the instructor might post a question and then the students are commenting, and then there's big long threads about a specific topic. This is also how you will submit your assignments. It's all through an online Dropbox. They will all be submitted back to you through this Dropbox with feedback. This is where you're expected to read all the course materials, of course participate and submit your assignments. There is an instructor attached to every single course that will be available for online support through emails or perhaps Skype, things like that. So that's kind of a snapshot of how our online courses work. The program cost. So the total program cost is just under $3,000 plus any applicable textbooks that are required. I should add though, included in that $3,000 tuition, you will get to do different assessments, and those will be included in the tuition, as well as the coaching. Students pay for the courses as you register. So you don't have to pay for that money all up front. Typically students will take one course per term. So this will be spread out over the duration of the year, or if you perhaps decide to do it over 2 years or 3 years, of course it just gets spread out even further. And if you are UW alumni, you are eligible for a 10% discount. So for the dates, like I mentioned, the leadership development course will be offered this fall. Our fall term typically runs from early September until the end of November, which is a 12-week term. And then we're offering the Leading Self and Leading Others just following in winter term. Our winter term runs January until the end of March, followed by Leading Teams and the Organization. This will be offered in the spring. Our spring term is April until the end of June. And then the Leadership Challenge Capstone project will be offered in the summer months over July and August. It will be run in a 10-week format versus the typical 12 weeks. So basically the program will be able to be completed in a year, so starting in September, finishing in the following September. However, students do not have to follow these timelines. They will be offered continuously throughout the year. Like I mentioned, the leadership development, if you don't catch it in the fall, you could catch it perhaps in the winter or in the spring term and start at that point. The only real prerequisites that you have to worry about is the leadership development should be the first course you start off with. If you already have leadership development, you could start right in the Leading Self and Others or the Leading Teams and Organization. But before you register for the Leadership Challenge project, you have to have all 3 courses. All this information is on our timetable, just at the link below, and we will be sure to send out the presentation to all participants after the session today. So admission criteria. Our admission is to for students to have a high school diploma or a mature status diploma, and also post-secondary education is not mandatory, although it is preferred. It doesn't have to necessarily be a degree, but a certificate or a diploma program. But again, this is just a preference. It's not going to be harmful if you do not have it in terms of your admission. We do, though, have a professional work experience requirement. So we're asking that students have a minimum of 3 years of professional work experience. In an office type experience, you might not be in a leadership or supervisory capacity, but you've definitely been exposed to it and are, working towards that, or have that direct supervisory kind of management experience is what we're looking for that work experience. It will be assessed at the time of admission, but if students have any questions in terms of whether their experience counts, we're happy to kind of field those calls beforehand or emails beforehand as well to kind of help work through that. And if you are a new Canadian, permanent resident, or you are from outside of Canada, we have English language requirements, and those will be posted on our website to determine what those are for admission. So how to apply? At PACE, we have something called open enrollment, which means that students can start their programs without actually signing up and going through the admission process, which is a great way to really test things out and see if this is what you're looking for, the right fit for you, works for you, kind of no strings attached. So I definitely encourage you to start off in our enrollment, open enrollment, and test out a course and kind of see if this is something that you want to pursue. But the really important point is don't forget to apply for the certificate. So at some point, definitely you will have to go through the formal application process. It is an online application. There's a $50 application fee, and then we require transcripts from any post-secondary. If you don't have any, then from high school. Proof of language proficiency if that is required. A resume, which is where we will gauge your professional work experience. And then any name change documentation, again, if applicable. So that's the application process. And then just to kind of end off with a few perks of the program. So for students to be able to complete this in a year time frame is really desirable. We hear from our students all the time that they want those quick programs and something that is really easy to translate into their workplace. It gives you a great opportunity to network with other people across sectors, where we're thinking that we're going to get people from all over in terms of HR, project management, education, healthcare, engineering. This program is not geared at all towards a sector. It's leadership, which can be used in absolutely any capacity. So we're really anticipating some great networking opportunities for our students. It's very application-based, so it's going to be really real, really focused on the trends of the workplace and how to translate all that into your own personal leadership style to bring back to your organization. Like I mentioned before, we don't have faculty members. This is very industry-led. These are professionals who have immense experience in the courses that they're going to be teaching in. There's also the opportunity in the Capstone project, like I talked about, for that one-on-one coaching, which is a huge asset and typically not common in continuing ed programs. It's also a program that can be completed for less than $3,000, so it's very affordable. And then just having a program that is affiliated with the University of Winnipeg to put on your resume is a huge benefit. And the fact that it can be completed all online, which is something that you do at your own pace, at your own schedule, kind of within the course parameters, is a huge benefit. And again, it's what our students are telling us that they want. Gives them a lot of flexibility. So I'm just going to go and see if there's some questions. We're taking the mute off now, so if you have a question, feel free to ask it, or you can post it in the chat box. We have one question from Melissa. So Ashley, what would be the difference between the management certificate and emerging leaders certificate? Great question. Yeah, that's a great question. So our management certificate is really focused on soft skills, anywhere from managing conflict to project management to accounting to the effective communication in the workplace, from business writing, whereas the leadership development is going to be very focused on leadership and how to kind of lead your team to success, the strategy behind it, whereas the management certificate is going to have a little bit more of the technical background and the business sense and the finance behind it. Leadership is very, very focused on leading your organization and how to grow your own personal leadership capacity and to translate that back into your organization and lead your team to success. I hope that answers that. Are there any additional questions? I've provided the link to our course page on our website up here. And like I mentioned, we will send out this presentation again to all participants so you can look for more information. My contact information has also been included, so if you have further questions or would like to come in and meet with me, I'm happy to provide that as well. Yeah, I'll just mention, my name is Stevie Dram. I look after the online learning. I'll just mention a few things about the online learning platform. So like Ashley said, there is an instructor with every course. How the courses work is you do have deadlines, you do have, in some instances, group projects. So you don't just work along at your own pace, which a lot of people are not really keen on. So you do have that motivation and you do have deadlines throughout. So we kind of structure every course in a scaffolding manner. So we build you up as you work through the course, and there's deadlines and papers and portfolio items you need to do. So you're not on your own at all. There's lots of discussion, so you actually do feel like you are in a classroom with other folks. You're working in groups, you're asking questions, you're coming up with challenges for your instructor, things like that. So it is very immersive, and we do bring in different types of technology. So you're not always on that platform. You may be doing, watching YouTube videos, you may be doing research outside in something like a Google Scholar or through a library service, and you might be doing polls and things like that. So we try to keep it very interactive and very student focused.
So it's not, you're not just going to log on and watch a 20-minute lecture and be done. There's more to it than that. We try to keep it interesting. We don't want everyone to get bored. And the instructors are coming from across Canada for this program because it is online. We can kind of dip into a larger pool than what we have here. So we're trying to get really people that are real leaders that have a real background in this. The person who's doing the second course actually worked with kind of the godfathers of leadership, Coos and Posner, who wrote the Leadership Challenge book. So she's doing our second course, and she actually helped develop the entire course. We're really excited about this.
She's developed programs across Canada. One in particular is Women in Leadership, and is really looked at as a guru in leadership. So we're very excited to have her be able to teach in this program. And she's teaching the second course, Leading Self.
Okay, we've got another question here for Ashley. Would you suggest completing the management certificate first before completing the emerging leaders certificate?
That's a great question. It is definitely not at all a prerequisite. However, one of our biggest target markets is going to be those that have completed the management certificate. There's going to be absolutely no overlap. It's kind of like the next transgression into focused leadership. And if students have completed the management certificate and have taken the leadership development as one of their electives, that's just a bonus because now you're coming in with transfer credit and kind of that knowledge already. So you can gauge from the leadership development course if you want to strengthen this skill set even further, which again, like I mentioned, is what the marketplace is looking for right now. We did tons and tons of research of different programs across Canada, and the conference board, all sorts of different publications, and this is a hot topic, a hot trend. Organizations are now starting to hire now for leadership capacity versus skill in a particular job set. I could actually read you some really cool statistics. 1 in 3 business leaders say they are more aggressively educating employees on their role in delivering on the value proposition. 56% of companies 56% of company leaders say they will soon face a shortage of qualified exclusive talent, and nearly 60% of companies face leadership talent shortages, which of course impede performance. So there's a strong need right now at organization level for leadership. So this definitely gives our students a competitive advantage in the workplace right now. And just to go back to your question, I definitely think that it's a great fit. Lots of transferability between the two programs. But it would not be a requirement, especially if you're coming in with some basic management experience. But if you want to discuss that further in terms of your personal circumstances, I'd be happy to if you'd like to reach out to me.
So we'll just give a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions, please post them, or as I said, I've unmuted everyone's microphone, so you can speak now as well. We had them muted during the actual presentation, so feel free to shoot any questions you have off. We'll just give you a couple minutes to gather your thoughts.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap things up. Thank you very much for joining us today. In follow-up to the presentation, we are going to send out the PowerPoint, the recording, and also a brochure with some more information on the program. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have further questions or comments. I'd be happy to address them. Thank you very much.